pjnet.tv part 2, and we are running the bumper. The chat room is waiting, and we are recording. We are streaming, switching to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to PJNet TV part 2. Sorry to keep you waiting, but hey, see that? It's worth the wait, okay? So Michelle is with us. I am going to send a iPhone exorcist to your location, and you know, why don't you just trade phones with your husband, because his always works.
And his is the oldest phone ever. I mean, it's like the last one to be upgraded in our family plan. He always gets the last upgrade because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And his is the most reliable. So what's that say for you? I don't know.
Yeah, well, good old, you know, you can always count on the husband to bail you out in the middle of the night. Well,
that's true.
How have you been? Did you get Bethany kind of gone, or is she still hanging around up there?
She did. She left. I hated to see her go because we had such a great time, and it's never long enough. But I had to take her to the airport early Friday. She flew home, so I had a weekend without her. But yeah, we had a great time. We got a lot done. You know, we're together. Surprisingly, we're pretty productive. So we got a lot of stuff done. She was on a TV interview today. I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw that was posted, yeah. And you know, that's big time. CBN, right?
I'm so proud of her. We got the call from this TV station in Florida. It's a Christian network, and they asked if we could be on there together. But I don't live in Florida, so we couldn't do it together. We love to do those kind of things together. So
well, it's funny, you know, she goes up there. They don't call you. Then you know, comes back home. If you would have just gone down there like you should have, this all would have worked out, and you could have gone fishing.
Yes, that's true. So anyway, but I'm sure it was great. She was telling me all about it. I think it's going to air next week, but she got to go and talk about Platinum Faith, and it was just wonderful. So I'm real proud of her. But yeah, I had to let her go back and do her stuff. Very sad.
Well, I'm sorry that you missed out on that, but you know, I assure you, and you know, that's big enough. I could tell that she was, I don't want to use the word nervous, but anxious maybe?
I mean, I think, you know,
how about scared to death? Maybe that would be better.
No, but you know, there's just a lot of, if you've never done that, it can be a little nerve-wracking. I think the thing about Bethany is she's so good on camera and she knows her stuff, and she was going to be talking about the book that we wrote, and our hearts are in that book. So I know she did an amazing job, but I think, you know, with the logistics, just getting there and making sure you know how to get to the studio, and then it wasn't a live show. Live shows are even a little scarier, as we know. when pictures fall on your head, or you know. No,
Michelle, I know that was a rigged trick to get your Platinum Literary logo on the screen. There, I saw the little piece of fishing wire hooked up to it, and you had your husband over there pull it off the wall.
I just pulled it. But they taped this one, so I told her, I'm like, if it's being taped, they can always fix things, so nothing to worry about. So she handled it like a pro, and I'm excited to see the fruits of that labor sometime next week. I think I'll let y'all know when we're on next week. But
another thing I saw was some of your photo shoot stuff is coming out.
Yeah, that was crazy. Beth and I, we always take selfies. I mean, I know you've probably seen 1,000 of them. They just tease us about it endlessly, but we always, you know, we've always got our phone up taking our picture together anytime we're together, and we take people with us and stuff, but we hadn't had a professional thing done in a bit, and the publishers don't like to use the same pictures all the time. It's like, you know, if you use it on several books, they kind of frown on that.
Yep.
So they asked for new pictures, and we didn't have any new ones except for our selfies, which, you know, I can't imagine why they didn't like our selfies. We thought they were
well. If you would have told them to contact me, I could have gotten some, screenshots off of this program. That would have been great. Y'all were in your hat set last week, both of you together. What could be better?
In our collegiate wear, that would have worked. But anyway, so there's a gal here that it's called KCP Creatives, and she took us to the golf course and did some pictures and did some on my front porch and at a church across the street. I think they'll probably be pretty good. And our main two objectives, we said, could you make us look not old and a little thinner? So those were some pretty tall orders. We'll see how she does. So that's but it was a good time. We have fun no matter what we do. But those were actually needed things, and you have to be together to have headshots together. So we'll see. One of ours, she sent us a sneak peek, and we've already used it to promote our Platinum Literary. It's like we're calling it the master class, and we're doing it for free. And we talked about it last week when we were together, and we were going to limit it at 25 people. In fact, Molly Jo signed up while she was in the chat room. She was the first one to sign up. But we actually had 44. I'm locked up.
No, you're not. You're good. Go, keep going. You're good. You're good.
Okay. We had 44 people. 44 people sign up, and we were going to cut it off at 25, but we decided to go ahead and let everybody be in. So now it's closed. But 44 people. So we're super excited to do that next month. It'll be a good deal.
Yeah, I'm working on something as we speak that I noticed last week, and I'm going to fix it, by golly, because your camera is not exactly level, okay? I noticed this last week, and I said, you know what? I'm the only person in the world that can make you level like that.
Oh, look at that.
I just moved your camera. Isn't that amazing? You didn't even see my hand up there, did you?
I tell you what, you are the man. That is awesome.
I think I went a little bit too
I
far on
appreciate that
because
it's a little bit sci-fuddled on my thing. I mean, just the fact that I had a camera, I didn't even care if I was in it. Just that we had a picture, so that was good.
I tell you, at this
point, I wanted to talk tonight about boundaries. What do you think about that? I'll tell you why. I had to go to the doctor today, just a checkup, nothing wrong. But during the pandemic, you can't go to doctors, and it was just like all done like this, like on Zoom or something. So I had to drive to Bloomington, and what would take 25 minutes took 2 hours, whatever. But while I was there, the doctor and I were chatting, and he's an author as well, and is doing some really groundbreaking things in medicine about hormones and women's things. So he's just a great guy.
Do I need to just leave and let you talk now if we're going to talk hormones?
We're not going to get personal. But in our talking about all the things about hormones and stuff, we were talking about how busy life was before the pandemic and how everything kind of slowed down. And we've talked about that on this program before. And in some ways, that Selah, that pause was a good thing for many of us to kind of, prioritize things in the right way and just take a breath and realize what's important in life. And then he said something that was so profound, and he couldn't remember where he got it, but I'm going to quote him. Dr. Andre said, there's something, he goes, just remember the letters that spell big, B-I-G. And I was like, okay, I can spell that. And he said, it's all about setting boundaries. So B is for boundary, setting boundaries. I is for integrity. If you set boundaries, you can keep your integrity because you'll hit your deadlines and things. And then G is for generous. If you allow time by setting boundaries, you can be over generous to those that you actually should be serving because you'll have time to do so. I absolutely love that. I'm like, that is so good. B for boundaries, I for integrity, and G for generous. One of our groundbreaking, well, it's part of our bylaws or maybe part of our mission statement at Serious Writer is to be over generous with everyone, with information, with time, with our classes. And so that just really resonated with me. And I thought, that's so good.
As a coach, it really surprised me. It really did.
Yeah.
Because, the other team, you're nice, but you're out to win, right?
That's right. And that's, I'm like that too. I'm super competitive. I mean, I was a sports writer, and if I'm in it, I'm in it to win it, like no matter what it is. But that over generous spirit opens the door to so many things, and you can't outgive God. So as you're giving to the other team or to your competitors, God just keeps promoting you. And what is it when something about one boat rises that we all rise? It's
a rising tide floats all boats.
Boy, I really messed that up. That was good. Say that again.
A rising tide. I didn't make it up.
That's what I meant to say.
That's what you meant. A rising tide floats all boats. Have you ever been to the Gulf, where the tide is a factor and the boats are anchored, and then the tide goes out. The boats are now on the bottom of the ocean. They're on dry ground. And then when the tide comes in, it floats all boats.
All the boats, they all rise.
Yeah. You have to pay attention to how much rope you have on your anchor when you anchor. Because if you anchor at low tide and you don't leave enough slack in the rope, as your boat goes up, the bow stays where it's at, the back of the boat goes up, and then it sinks. Anyway.
That wouldn't be good. Well, but I do love what that means. Very, very much. I just think that's kind of how we built that company. And Kyle and Bethany have been so over generous, and as a chair queen, I've been a part of that. But I just thought that was really good about setting boundaries. I've not been great in the past about setting boundaries. We've talked about this in this program before. Is we overcommit, and then we get stressed, and then we get kind
and
of
then you
angry,
let down
and we're
everybody. That's what
That's
bugs
it.
me. You wind up disappointing
wins
people.
then.
Yeah, everybody loses.
Yourself, everybody
And
that
your
you're in contact
reputation.
with.
That's the bad part.
That's that integrity part of the your integrity is ruined then because you've overcommitted, and then you can't do anything well. If you say yes to everything, which is what I've kind of always done, always yes to everything, but you start praying about it. Lord, am I supposed to say yes to this? And I've said this so many times, but it's still true. Just because it's a good thing doesn't mean it's a God thing. So just because it looks like a good door, before you walk through that, make sure there's not a better door you're supposed to wait on. Because if you've already committed here and you go through this door, then when the door God really has for you comes, you're not going to be in the right position to accept that assignment or to walk through that door. And the other part of that is you've robbed somebody else of the blessing of that particular assignment.
That's right.
Because if it wasn't supposed to be yours, it was supposed to be somebody else's. And by you saying yes, then you've robbed them of something that God had for them. And I don't ever want to be that person. So we have to just be very, I think, vigilant now that we are kind of getting back to what they call the new normal, and people are going back to work in offices, and maybe the kids are going back to school. We don't know yet. Things are kind of still up in the air, but more things are opening up. July 4th here in Indiana, things continue to level off, like the virus continues to be kind of not on the rise. Come July 4th, everything's going to be what they call the new normal here. Things are open up, just not 50%, but 100%. So as we're getting back into the swing of things, I think we have to remember about boundaries and about priorities and about saying yes to too many things, because we've been on the bench a little bit, and boy, the minute coach puts you in the game, you're ready just to, go in full throttle. You end up fouling about 6 people, and, you just have to go in and just be prayerful about and know that God has a plan for this time. And maybe we were resting for a reason, because we are going to go, full in, like it's going to be all forward. But we have to just make sure we check with God on those things. And I'm preaching to myself, because I've really not been good in that area. The joke's always been, but it's a true story. My sister bought me a book about setting boundaries, and somebody at my church wanted to borrow the book, and I didn't have enough of the setting boundaries in me to say no, and I never got it back. So I never got to read it. So obviously this is a problem area for me, and I don't think I'm the only one. So we need to set boundaries so that we can enjoy life a little more.
I'm going to give you a quote, and I'm going to see if you know who said this.
Okay.
You can be good at a lot of things, but you can only be great at a couple.
Is it Zig Ziglar?
You said it.
I said it? Oh. Well, you know what? Zig and I, we're just like this. So
Every once in a while you say something profound, and I remember, because you...
And I don't even remember that I said it. But I agree with that. That's really true. It's true no matter what your job is or what you're doing. And it's true in your family. If the times that I've been the most disappointed in myself is when I failed my family. If I've said yes to too many things at church, or I'm running VBS and I'm doing all this, but then I have to miss something that the girls really wanted me to be at, or Jeff feels like he's been living on fast food for 2 weeks because I haven't been able to fix any dinner, just whatever. I don't want to be a disappointment to myself, to God, to my family, to anybody I work with, and that's going to take setting some boundaries. And I'm glad that we don't have to set those boundaries. I was looking this up online, but the scripture, Psalm 16:5-6 in the NIV says, "Lord, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance." God will set the boundary so that it's delightful. You don't even have to do it, because he already knows the desires of your hearts, because he put them there. So let him kind of open up the doors, close the doors, set the boundaries, and then you can enjoy the things he really has for you. The things that he doesn't have for you, you don't want to do anyway, because they're not going to bring you any joy. They'll just bring lots of stress. I can look back on my life and see the times I just, like a bull in a china shop, just charged through and said yes without checking with God. Those were the most miserable assignments of my life. I could not wait till they were over. And as I would go to God about it, I'd hear, you didn't even check with me on it. So, I mean, I'm going to help you get through it. But if you check with me, I could have saved you a whole lot of grief. I get better as I get older, but I'm still attaining in that area.
Well, it's important, and I'm glad you spoke about setting boundaries in a spiritual sense. Here's the struggle I think that even the most mature Christian grapples with. Okay, you do your best to focus on what God wants you to do, And you take on a project and problems come along. And you've got these two little guys, one on this shoulder and one on this shoulder.
Yeah.
One's whispering, "You're not supposed to be doing this. That's why, is God trying to tell me I shouldn't be doing this?" And then the guy on the other shoulder says, "I don't want you to do this." So then you doubled. So which is it? Is it God trying to tell you, "Whoa, stop, detour"? Or is it, I'm doing the right thing and Satan doesn't want me to do it? This is one of the most, this is a spiritual conundrum. And all I can do is go talk to some, I talk to trusted Christian friends.
Sorry. Something froze. I had to fix it.
You're back.
Yeah. But no, I keep going. That's good. That you're preaching. I'm loving it. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, because you're not going to find a verse, chapter and verse, on should you do this project or that. It's not there. It's just like when you get offered a transfer to get a promotion. So what do? Well, yes, you need a good prayer life. Well, you know what Gideon did? I did this one time.
Yeah.
He wanted a word from God, so and I may get it wrong, but the point will be the same. He put the fleece out one night and said, if it's wet in the morning, I'll assume that is a yes. And so it was. He said, well, let me be sure. I'll set it out again if it's dry. So I did this. And I set, I didn't have a fleece, but I had a coontail. And so I said, God, if this is intended for me to do this project, tomorrow morning it'll be wet with the morning dew, right? Okay, so I go out the next morning, darn thing's gone. I don't know what happened to it.
Are you serious?
No.
Coach, I never know if you're serious or not.
What if Gideon would have gone out and what if Gideon would have gone out and the fleece were gone?
Yeah.
Somebody stole my fleece.
We might not have heard that story if that was the case. But no, you're exactly right. I think it's okay to ask God and to tell him to be specific. When you don't get the answer, when the raccoon tail is gone, when you go out for the answer the next morning, the thing I've always done, well, I haven't always done, but the thing I know to do and the thing I'm trying to do now is it says in the Bible to let peace be your umpire. So if I'm going towards and I'm getting ready to say yes to something, but I don't have complete peace, I'm not going to say yes. In the past, I would say yes and then ask God to cover it. Oh, maybe I'm just, I'm just nervous about this. But no, if I don't have peace on it, I'm going to hesitate. I'm going to take that time to ask God, is this the thing I should be doing? Should I be going forward with this? And if I don't have peace about it, then that to me is a check in my spirit. That's an absolute no. And you have to be okay with saying no. I think the problem with saying no is that we feel like we have to justify our no. Like our no has to have like a dissertation about why I'm saying no. It can just be a no. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. I can just say, no, I can't do that. And if if I feel like they need explanation, somebody at church or something, I'll just say, because I don't feel like God wants me to do this. I mean, that just shuts the case on it. I don't mean to sound super spiritual, but that's how we have to live our lives if we're going to go forward in peace.
Oh boy, you got me wound up now. Okay, I served as the disaster relief director. I won't go into all that, but basically we have an email list of people who have said, if there's something I'd like to have the opportunity to serve. So there's hundreds of email addresses on this thing. So we send out a thing, please meet at such and such church at such and such time. We're going to be going to do such and such. And I'm sending this to hundreds of people. You know what really chaps my buns? People will email me back and say, I can't go because, mom-in-law has got this, that. And it's like, I'm getting inundated with emails in reply as to why people can't go. Mm-hmm. And now I got to sort through my inbox to find the real messages. I don't care who can't go. I care who can go. You know how I say no to people? I say, I don't even like you. I hate you. I hate the car you drive. I hate the house you live in. I don't like your dog or cat. And you're ugly. I'm not no. That's the way I say no.
Well, I hope you never say no to me then on anything. That is not going to fly with this girl right here, I can tell you.
Have you ever found yourself... Collect your thoughts.
Oh my goodness.
I'm drinking too much coffee. have you ever find yourself saying yes to something, and you start bargaining with God? This is utterly senseless, but you're like, God, this is a good thing. God, think about all the people that can be touched with this project. Lord, bless this project. Lord, send financial resources, because Lord, we are going to. And I catch myself doing this and saying, let me get this right. You're bargaining with God? Really?
Yeah, makes no sense at all. Absolutely no sense. He sees right through that, right? You go in there throwing him with all these bargains, and he's like, "Yeah,
like God was wavering,
ridiculous.
saying, I'm glad you brought those points up, Coach, because I wasn't sure I was behind this, but now that you bring all that up, yeah, I'm behind it. Baloney.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a pretty good arguer. You can ask Jeff. I mean, I'm very, I come in with like a 14 bullet pointed reasons to why I should be able to do something, and if we discuss something or why my plan's better. But that doesn't work with God. It only works with Jeff about 10% of the time, but it definitely doesn't work with God at all. So, the best thing to do is just to check with him before you say yes. Then you're not going to have to go in and ask him to bless something. It's kind of like asking him to bless your mess. I mean, he'll get you through it, but that is not the way to live life. I mean, we're all going to miss it once in a while, and God is there to help us through it. But I don't want to live my life that being the norm. That should be the exception. We should let peace be our umpire. It says that he will direct our steps. It tells us that, right, in Proverbs, that he'll direct the steps of the righteous man or woman. And so we need to just keep in the Word, keep asking God. And I'm like you. I don't care, like Gideon. I don't care to ask him more than once, Lord, could I have a sign? Like, I don't expect you to send an angel tonight or anything. And that might, actually, I really would rather you not do that. That's going to really freak me out. But if you could just confirm it in your Word, like in my morning devotion, or somebody that I speak with the next day, that would be great. I had a Platlit client I was talking with yesterday, and she was talking about, she wasn't sure if she should do this one thing, join this one organization. She thought that she might be a good keynoter for them, but she wasn't sure. She had never heard of him until just recently. She did a little research about him, and she thought, wow, that would be amazing. It really fits with what I do, my mission statement. But she just wasn't sure if it was just like a pipe dream or if this is something that she should actually apply to do. And she purchased a book, actually it wasn't a purchase, she got it from a library, and it took a while to get it, like, on a wait list or whatever. So she gets it in and she's reading it. And that very next day, after she was kind of going back and forth on this, in this book, it's not even this guy's most recent book, it's just one that she was on a wait list for, he mentions that organization that he had spoken there, and she's like, what? That is confirmation from heaven above. Like, that is not coincidence. Yeah. The fact that she read it that very next day, she'd been waiting on a wait list, she gets it in time to read it, and then this guy talks about it. Like, that's a kiss from heaven. When God does something like that to confirm it, okay, I don't need Gideon's fleece. This is God just saying, yep, that's your sign, go ahead. Remember we did that one show about signs? That's the blinking sign. Go ahead. This is the red. This is not the red light. This is the green light. And so he'll do that. He will confirm his word. He'll confirm his plans. And he will help you set the boundaries so that you don't have to make excuses for, just let your no be a no. Look, I can't do this because if I say yes to this, I have to say no to something else. And I believe God is asking me to do something over here that's going to better fit what he has for me here on earth. And, our days are not limitless. I mean, I think when you're really young, you think, well, you're invincible and you're going to live to be 100. And I hope we all do. But, as you get past the 50 mark, which we both are, you start thinking, I might have lived more than I'm going to live. I hope that's not the case. But you start realizing that things that you say yes to better make a kingdom difference. They better have some priority. They better be high up there, or I've got a lot of other things to fill time. I really, I'll go fish. So I'm going to say yes to things that God wants me to say yes to.
Something precious in the chat room. This is golden. Paul Karate. We often make our plans and then send the Lord an invite when making plans, and not including God. Use a pencil. That's great.
That's wisdom. How often
folks.
Do we do that?
That's wisdom.
That chat room's full of all kinds of wise guys.
We got there's some made men here and women, and
that's right.
And no, really, literally, when I get in one of those spiritual decision things, I think we all have what I call the short list. People that we know and we trust, and we know we could count on them no matter what. And I had this come up about 2 weeks ago. And, you're not going to find a verse in there saying, what to do. So I single out Christians that I trust, and God, and
Yes.
I just tell God,
Godly
God, speak
wisdom.
through them, speak through them to me, because I want to do the right thing, even if that means doing nothing, which is hard for me to do. But yes, I have, and here's the backside of that. First of all, think about the spiritual character of that short list of people that you have. We all have them. So here's the question: how many short lists are you on? Live your life in such a way that you are on the short list of people who they can count on you no matter what to say
That's
no.
another one of those questions you could ask at the end of every show. Like, that's amazing. You're exactly right. You want to be the person who lives with boundaries and integrity and is over generous. That's the kind of person that I want on my short list. My inner circle gets smaller and smaller the older that I get. It's just, it comes, and
Well,
these are people
there's
that
a reason. Well, there's a reason for that. Friends come and go, but enemies
yeah.
accumulate.
Well, that's true. And that's true. Yeah, there's a whole line of those. But the friends, the ones you can count on, those are
Yeah.
the ones I'm going to go to and say, "What do you think
the
about
kind.
this?" I know, and I'm so thankful for those people. And you're right. I want to be on people's short list. I want to be
Yeah, it's
somebody
quite an
that's
honor.
a trusted advisor. Yes.
Right. It's quite an honor when someone confides in you on a serious matter. I mean, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I think we should strive to live our life in such a way that we do get those phone calls.
I agree, Coach.
I have gotten. I remember it was years ago, but a friend of mine is suicidal and was going through some bad stuff, and he called me at 2 a.m. I said, "Meet me at Waffle House and give me your weapon. Okay, you don't need it now." And we just sat at Waffle House drinking coffee till 4 a.m. But I can't fix his problems. I can't make them go away. But at least I was the one he knew he could call me at 2 a.m. And I thought, that's the kind of friend I want to be.
You were the lifeline. That's right.
Yeah, and I'm not
that's
saying he would have
amazing.
killed himself, but he wanted somebody he could trust to, just here, keep my gun till and I actually gave it back to him sometime later. But in any event, well, Michelle, that's good. That's good stuff. That's just you got it. It's good stuff, and it's great to have your husband's phone
I
that
know.
we can use.
Jeff always comes through.
I guess.
Yep, he does.
Well, actually, we have some other things we need to circle up on. So I'll be in studio all day tomorrow,
Okay.
and tonight for that matter. But I'll be working tonight. But circle up
We
with
can
me
meet up
and-
tomorrow.
Yeah,
I got to
let's
do
that,
Marty's
'cause,
Bible study, but other than that, I'll be home. So yeah.
Look, hey, come on, give a plug for Sisters too. Tell us what's going on.
Sisters too. So Marty and I, my sister, who's my older sister, I always love to say, we have a ministry called Sisters too, Sisters in Christ Jesus and Sisters in the Flesh. And so we have a Bible study that we do with Miss Lee from her church. And that today we just looked, we posted the last one that we didn't even do a watch party because neither one of us could make the watch party work. Cause like we're all technically challenged except once in a while I get it right, but we couldn't make it work this week for whatever reason. I think Facebook might have done that, but I'm not sure. But so anyway, we've already had 658 views on that.
Wow.
Since Monday, and we didn't even promote it because we didn't know how to get the watch party to work. So God's doing something, but we are, in spite of all of our not knowing what we're doing, God is still using us, and we're so thrilled. So we're going to tape the Bible study, Stonegate Bible study. You can watch all the back ones; they're all on there on the Stonegate. It's Stonegate Bible Study. If you want to go on Facebook to find
Or
it,
just go
and
find
then Marty
you on
and I
Facebook
start. And I always tag people, but also we have our first speaking engagement as Sisters 2 during this season is July 25th. We're speaking at a church in Spencer, Indiana, and we're speaking on the topic of fear. So we're pretty excited about that. We're going to do tag team, and then we're each going to do a presentation. Well, not a presentation. It's going to be hopefully a Holy Spirit-filled camp meeting is what we're hoping for. So you guys pray about that. July 25th. We're excited about it.
That's great. Well, we're going to hear all about that when you get back. And who knows? All right. Yeah. Michelle, thanks for sharing your time. Sorry we had trouble getting you on tonight, but you know what? We got her done, and it all worked out. And we'll see you about this time next week, and hopefully sometime in between.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Michelle Medlock Adams with us each Wednesday night right here on pjnet.tv. I would just want to say thank you. to all of you in our chat room at pjnet.tv. When I get done, as soon as we go off the air, I go cuddle up with my tablet and get a cup of coffee and read through the chat. And you all are such an encouragement to me and what's happening here. Well, it's a God thing. It's been a dream for years. And you all are I'm just so glad that you all are a part of a dream come true for Coach. All right. I'm going to need to get to work and get more coffee and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to leave you with two questions. The first one is this. What is the single boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? I certainly hope you don't struggle too much coming up with that answer. But even if you do, here's the second question. How long ago was that? Folks, if we are going to be effective disciples and ambassadors for Jesus Christ, we can never be satisfied with either answer.